Hey everybody, this is Praxis. In this video I wanted to share with you my thoughts on this night vision device made by Akaso. Is it a waste of your money? Is it worth it? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Okay, so what's the 8-second answer to the question, is this Akaso night vision device worth it? Well, the short answer is yes, it does what it claims to do. So if you're looking to buy something about this price range and you get this, you're not going to be let down. It has a lot of cool features, but that said, there are a couple of things in here that I think are really important to throw out there. And one of them in particular I feel is well, I'm going to talk about the positive stuff first, then we're going to talk about the things that I think are concerns that you probably should know about before you get it. But before any of that, I want to say, and I say this at the beginning of any video that I ever do reviewing night vision or even a flashlight, when you go outside at night, you don't need a device to see most of the time. If you go out in the dark and just give your eyes, a good 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes for your eyes to adjust, a lot of people are surprised at how well our eyes are able to create their own night vision on their own. And actually, little spoiler alert, what I'm talking about right now is one of the issues that I have with this product, which we'll get into a little bit later. But I just want to throw that out on the table. You don't need to buy anything, not a flashlight, not a pair of night vision goggles, to have some basic ability to see in the dark. In fact, if you go out with a flashlight and you have a pool of flashlight light around you, it prevents your eyes from adjusting to the natural nighttime environment, and it can make you feel as though the only way that you can see is with that flashlight. But if you turn that thing off and let your eyes adjust for, like I said, 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, you will oftentimes be really amazed at how deep into the woods you can see. In fact, using a flashlight really limits your ability to see off into the distance because your eyes adjust to the illumination of the flashlight and are completely incapable of looking off out of the pool of light that you've created. So whether it's night vision goggles or a flashlight, you don't absolutely need to buy anything in order to see at night. Most people would be really surprised if they just go out just with their normal eyes, which are free, and just let them adjust to the nighttime conditions, and there's an awful lot that you can see out there. But that said, there's an awful lot more that you can see if you use an additional device, and this device, it really does a good job. And I want to show for most of this video kind of some side-by-side comparisons of videos that I've shot using this device, which can work in a couple different modes. It can work in kind of a color mode where it's grabbing color from the environment, and that's a little bit grainier, but it is giving you that color information. Or it can work in a black and white mode where it's only picking up on infrared light. It does have the ability to illuminate with its own lamp on here. It can send infrared light out so that you can kind of bathe an environment, and you can look at things in a way where people or animals around you aren't necessarily going to be able to see that you're illuminating the environment, but you're going to be able to see into that environment. But it does a pretty good job, and here are some side-by-side comparisons of what came right out of the camera. You can record still images or videos with this the set of binoculars, and kind of an adjusted version of what that environment looked like to my nighttime adjusted eyes. And that's kind of a simulation of me trying to, as accurately as possible, convey what that environment looked like to me, during the time of the recording. And you can see just between these two, side-by-side comparisons that there's an awful lot more detail there. Now, with your nighttime adjusted eyes, you can see a lot of the basic bones of what's there, but you can see, using this night vision device, you can really see a lot more detail. You can see a lot more fine lines. You can see more into the shadow areas. So you're definitely getting a lot more information out of the environment that you couldn't necessarily get with your night vision adjusted eyes alone. A couple of things that I really do like about this item is that it's pretty easy to use. All the buttons are right on the top here, and as you put it up to your face, your fingers land naturally right on the buttons. In terms of the buttons identification, there's one that's very clearly an on-off button, and there's some up and down buttons. But going through the menu, I found that it was a little bit unintuitive moving through the menu. Once you learn, which button does what, it's not that big of a deal. But I felt like sometimes the buttons weren't super intuitive. That's me nitpicking a little bit. But the menu itself, there are a lot of different features that you can, bring up there from different different illumination levels, from different zoom levels. You can kind of pop in digitally. It's not an optical zoom on this. That's all good. One thing that I think is absolutely wonderful about this device is that the battery that runs it is not a fixed battery inside the device that you can never get out again. Can I pop this one out? Yeah. These are the batteries. And I love this approach to things where someday this battery is going to stop working. Batteries are always the Achilles heel of every bit of electronics. Batteries only last for a certain amount of time, and I think it is absolutely insane that people create electronic devices, especially expensive electronic devices, with fixed permanent batteries that you can't swap out. This is wonderful. Someday when this battery dies, and it will, as well as you make a battery, it's only going to last a certain amount of time. This can be taken out and you can pop in a brand new battery, and it's going to return your device back to, the original capabilities of when you first bought it. This kit actually comes with 2 batteries. By the way, I'm going to put a link down in the description below to this particular item if you wanted to get it. But I absolutely love that. It's kind of a rare thing in modern day electronics to be able to pull the battery out and swap it out very easily. And I love that they did that on this. One thing that's a little bit weird about this device is that it is a pair of binoculars, and I feel the first time that I picked it up out of the box, you've got these 2 little optics up here, and it feels like you should put it up to your face like this and look through it, but it's actually the other way around. This is a viewing screen in the back, and what these are is one of these is a lens, and the other one is the illumination, the infrared illuminator that shines the light out there. So I thought that was a little bit funny. I felt a little bit like George Bush Jr. doing the binoculars with the caps on the end of it at the beginning. But that brings me to an issue that I have with this, and it's kind of major, I think. And I've already brought this up with the manufacturer. I told them I was going to share this with you guys in the review. That's the way I always do my reviews. If someone sends me something for free, I'm always going to do an honest review of it. But if someone sends me something for free, I always give the manufacturer the option to say, you know what, just don't share your review at all. Like if it's not going to be 100% positive, and a lot of companies are like that, where they'll ask me not to release the review, and I'll have shot like a whole review, and I'll be all excited to release it, and there'll be a couple negative things in there, and I could just release it anyway, but I don't want to be a dick about it, and I'll hold the review back, and kudos to Akaso for being okay with me sharing this with you. And this issue comes down to this viewing screen. Now, there's a little nose indent right here, and this is like, what goes up against your forehead, and this goes right up to your head like this. And that works just fine if you can focus really closely to your face. I don't have terrible vision. Through most of my life, I was the guy that had particularly good vision. The past 2 years or so, I've just started not needing reading glasses, but sometimes when I'm reading a book, occasionally I'll pop on reading glasses because it'll just make it a little bit easier. It's depending on the lighting conditions or whatever. So I don't need reading glasses, but I'm just on that kind of threshold of starting to occasionally use them now and then. And I cannot focus on this thing. I can't come anywhere close to focusing on the screen in here when I put it up to my face like that. To use this, I need to kind of hold it out like this, and that's fine. I can see the screen fine. It's perfectly functional, but clearly this is made to go up to your face, and there's no ability to adjust the the focus range in there. And I told the people at the company that make this that's kind of a problem, because there are a lot of people who have much worse vision than I do when it comes to not being able to focus on something close to them. And I think it would be really nice if there was some kind of an adjustment knob or something so that you could put this up to your face and still be able to focus on the screen. So if you're someone like myself that occasionally is like just starting to use reading glasses, and certainly if you need reading glasses, you're not going to be able to use this like this. It's going to be like this, or maybe even further. I think that is kind of a big problem with this, is that it's not adjustable in that way. And that brings me to the other issue that I have with that. And I only really have two and a half issues. Here's the half issue. It comes with this nice little strap that can go around your neck like that, and it clips on either side. So when you're walking through the woods, especially in the in the dark and everything. You don't want to like, stumble or something like that and accidentally drop this. So it's nice to have it secured around your neck, kind of, it's like a pair of binoculars that you might use it in that way. But when you clip their strap onto the device and then you go to put it back into the carry case, it can't be put back into the carry case because these little clips on the side which receive the strap, they are sticking out when they're receiving the strap, and there's no way of getting this back into the case with the strap on it. So every single time that you want to put this away back into the case, you have to remove the strap, and that's kind of like a half of a problem with it. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it would be so easy for them to just modify the shape of the case in there in order to accommodate these little things being popped out, and it would get rid of the problem. And I mentioned that to them too, and hopefully they're going to affect that, but that's not that big of an issue. But here's the other thing that I think is kind of a big issue. Remember when I mentioned at the beginning of this video how people, when they use a flashlight, you create a pool of light around yourself, and it kind of handicaps you where your eyes adjust to that pool of light, but you can't see deeper into the woods because your eyes are kind of they become addicted to the light that you have around you. Well, this does something very similar with the view screen. I mentioned it has a pretty good menu. There's lots of options in there, and one is changing the illumination level of the view screen. You can have it brighter or you can have it less bright. It only has 3 settings, high, medium, and low. And even on the lowest setting, it is really, really bright. Not like it hurts your eyes bright, but it ruins your night vision bright. So if you're going around through the woods and you see something that you want to check out and you bring this up to your eyes, you turn it on and you're looking at whatever this thing is, as soon as you take this down from your eyes have been ruined, so suddenly you're kind of blind to your environment again. And I think that's a pretty big problem. Now, I'm not 100% sure about what would be the best approach to that, whether they should have lower illumination levels in here and make the display in here dimmer and dimmer so that you can use it without ruining your night vision, or maybe having kind of like a red light insert, because if we are exposed to red lights in our eyes, it doesn't ruin our night vision as much. I'm not sure exactly why that is, but I know whenever people go stargazing, you take a red light with you, and if you're using a red light on a star chart, it's not going to wreck your night vision as much. There are a few different approaches they could take, but I think it would be a really good idea for them to change something to make it so that you can be out, have your eyes adjusted to the night, use this, and then take it away and not have to like sit there for a few minutes to let your eyes adjust so you can see where you're going again and not trip over something. Now you might think to yourself, well, that's not that big a problem. If you have, these are kind of like night vision goggles, you can just leave them up on your face all the time. Well, they're not really night vision goggles. They do have a little mount here, which seems to be for, like, they've got those like helmet assemblies where you can, have it positioned up there. So it seems like it's prepared to be used in that respect, but the optics in here are pretty telephoto. These really are night vision binoculars, and you're not going to go walking around through the woods with your face just in a pair of binoculars because, well, that's a comedy waiting to happen right there. So these are not wide-angle lenses where you can really see broadly around yourself. You got real tunnel vision. They're great for what they do. They're binoculars, and they bring you in. You can look at an animal or something off in the distance, but they're not the kind of thing you could just leave up on your face and go trouncing off through the woods because you're just not going to be able to, see what you're doing. So, that's kind of an issue with these as well. So the big problems I have: lack of the ability to adjust this so that you can focus it, to your eyes if you have trouble focusing really close. The brightness of it, which really ruins your night vision, and that's independent of what your eyes are going to be like. The brightness of this, it's actually literally bright enough to be used as a flashlight. If your eyes are night adjusted, and you know what, maybe that's the solution right there. You go, you're going through the night, you use these things once, your night vision's ruined, but you leave them on and you can point them at the ground, and it's a pretty decent flashlight. I've used it as that. So I guess that's kind of a solution to it. But those are the big issues I have with it. But that said, those couple of things aside, it does a really, really good job. I've been able to use it for, sky watching, astronomy kinds of things, looking off through the woods. It does an excellent job doing what it does. The kind of stuff that I was talking about, this is just kind of, ease of use types of things. But in terms of the function of allowing you to see and really probe deep into the darkness, this thing does a really, really excellent job. I know that I'm going to have a lot of fun with this going into the future. Oftentimes will hear like animals coming out of the woods, and I'll get a flashlight sometimes to kind of see what's out there, but that invariably interacts with the animals, and they know that you're watching them. I know sometimes coyotes will come out of the woods, and when I hear them doing all their like unearthly like screaming and everything, I will take a flashlight and just kind of flicker it off into the woods, and they stop dead as soon as that flashlight's there. So in that case, it's good because I want them to kind of get scared off and not mess with my my chickens or anything. But animals definitely recognize when a light is being used in an area. Using something like this, you're able to observe them without them knowing that they're being observed. So I would recommend something like this for those reasons, if the idea of proximity or face doesn't bother you, and with the understanding that if you were going to use this walking through the darkness in the night, after you use it, you're going to need some recovery time for your night vision in your eyes. But other than that, they did a really great job. I'm looking forward to using this, more in the future, and I'm going to put a link down in the description below. They said something about some discounts or something. I forget exactly what they said, but whatever discounts they had suggested I could pass on to you, I'll put the information down in the description box below this video. That's it, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe for new videos all the time, and if you'd like to support this channel, you can do so either through Patreon or PayPal.